once Ted Cruz is out of the picture, Donald Trump's going to get Ted Cruz's states because they're Republican states. Right. People are either going to hold their nose or they're going to be happy about voting for Donald or whatever, but they're going to vote for him. Ted Cruz doesn't bring in any state that will change a difference or make it any easier for Hillary.
Yeah, exactly. You're listening to the Silent Majority here. The number to call is 347-338-1775. The show's about you. Please call in. We want your participation here. So, you know what frustrates me the most is how he brags about, being able to take these delegates because he has a quote unquote ground game. It's very easy to have a ground game when you have the establishment behind you, HC. What do you have to say about that?
Well, like I said this before. He can brag. In fact, he needs to brag about it more because it makes him look just part of the game. Mm-hmm. At the same time, he's sitting here trying to tell people that he will stand up to Washington. He will stand and fight for you. But he's still playing the same bullshit game that Romney played.
Right. I want to thank Sean. Sean, thank you for calling, brother. I appreciate it. So last night I had a great show. Last night I actually had Gavin Mitchell on my show last night. I had Bill Mitchell. I had two Mitchells on my show last night, and we spoke about the illusion of choice. How Donald Trump, and I mentioned this earlier, Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders are basically revealing to the American people that these elections are rigged, and it's time for them to stand up and stop this. Let's go to the other side. Poor Bernie Sanders. I mean, here you have a guy who's been on a winning streak in terms of winning states, but is losing in the delegate count because of the super delegates. Matt.
How bad can we feel for Bernie Sanders? He is living socialism today. I mean, do you really feel bad for the guy? I mean, he goes out and wins 8 of the last 9 primaries and caucuses. And because the system's so damn rigged, Hillary Clinton walks away with all the delegates. And Bernie's scratching his head saying, wait a minute, what happened there? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to do to everybody else.
Right.
How can you feel bad for it? But you're right, Chris. The crazy thing about the deal is, and this didn't get talked about back in 2008 because all of these super delegates, and I'm using air quotes, you can't see me on the radio here.
I see you.
But these super delegates, they don't vote until the convention. Mm-hmm. They're not encumbered to anybody. So if Bernie Sanders, like I was talking today, Bernie Sanders, if he comes out of New York 55-45, he's okay. And the funny thing is about New York, which it cracks me up, Bernie Sanders was born in Brooklyn. Where was Hillary born? Not in New York.
Not in New York, that's for sure.
But she's like, I'm from New York. I'm New York through and through. And then what'd she do today after she voted? Her and Bill went out and campaigned in front of the voting poll. Yeah. I mean, the Clintons are scrupulous, if nothing else.
They're such a joke. I mean, it's such a joke how she can say anything racist. I mean, it's been a history with them. They can say anything racist and they'll still get the black vote, it seems like.
Yeah, like she's carrying around hot sauce in her purse.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, first of all,
ridiculous.
Who asked what journalist with any kind of background or
I think it was a black radio show, right? It was like the Morning Cup or the Breakfast Club or something. I don't know. But what journalist worth their salt says, hey, what are you carrying in your purse? Who gives a flying rat's monkey butt? What's in your purse? Oh, I got hot sauce. Yeah, she can say CP time. She can say they can say super predators, and it doesn't matter to the vote to her voters. But anyway, at this time, I want to pick up Maria. Maria, welcome to the Silent Majority.
Hi.
How
are you?
We're doing great. How are you?
Great.
You have a comment or a question for us?
I'm reading your tweet. Somebody's tweeting and they're saying to call because you live.
Yes.
I follow you guys on Twitter. I follow you guys on, and I don't think you guys think I'm a New Yorker, so I'm calling to bother you guys.
Okay. we don't mind being being bothered, but
I'm looking at the Patriot tweet right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow Wayne.
Okay.
And Bill.
Okay.
I don't know if you can hear me. I'm sorry. I have bad allergies today, so my voice is horrible.
It's okay. It's okay. But do you have a question or a comment for us? We're talking about the New York primaries. Where are you from?
The primaries. As a matter of fact, I'm a little bit upset because I'm a first-time voter, and I sent my registry on about 2.5 weeks ago. They had told me I was supposed to receive it before the primary because I sent it before the 25th of March, and I didn't receive it, so I couldn't vote today.
Oh, that's so disappointing. This is why.
That because I wanted to tweet you guys the vote, and I couldn't do it. But my husband voted. I'm so upset because I don't think you guys believe that I am a Trump person. You understand? I'm a Trump follower.
Who did you?
For some reason.
And let me ask you a question. Your husband voted.
Yes?
Your husband voted for Donald Trump, though, right?
Of course.
Awesome.
Of course.
That's all that matters. That's all.
Yes, he voted. As a matter of fact, my son was trying to go with my son. So he pleased me. I begged him. I threatened him. So he voted for him. So
well, bless.
My daughter's not a safety.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
Well, bless your heart. I want you to continue to listen to us.
I love him. It's like, you don't know our history. Since before he was in that was 1982. I was already a fan. You understand? Nobody probably. I don't want to talk about my age now, but
it's okay. It's okay, but
I'm teasing you guys.
It's okay. I want you to continue to listen. We have the phone lines are jam packed here, but I want you to continue to listen to us on Spreaker. I'm going to leave you on the line if you want to continue to listen, but we have to pick up this next call. Okay, thank you for calling.
Oh, please do. Go. I can follow you online.
Okay, follow me online, dear, and thank you for calling.
Oh, my love for you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there you have it. I feel bad for it. Let me tell you, and this is why I'm so thankful that I followed the election so closely this year, because I knew that I had to switch. I was an independent. I knew I had to switch to Republicans to Republican to vote for Donald Trump. So I switched earlier, and I switched like months ago. But at this time, I want to pick up. You listen to the Silent Majority here. I'm your host, Chris, and on the Rebooting Liberty Hotlines, I have my co-host. I have Matt Locke, and I have HC from Hardcore Radio. At this time, I want to pick up Richard from Kentucky. Welcome to the Silent Majority.
Hello, man. How y'all doing tonight?
Hold on one second. There you go. Your volume's up. How are you? We're doing well.
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
We're doing awesome, sir. What's going on?
Good.
I was wanting to comment about our founding fathers.
Sure. Go right
plan
ahead.
for us to fight for our freedom, and I think the people that vote need to get out there and vote and make their vote count, and the delegates need to go along with the voters and keep the process going right instead of the wrong way.
Well, that's just it, and this is what upsets me when you bring up the topic about what went on in Colorado and Wyoming, where people just say, "Hey, this is the process, the rules." Everybody knew the rules.
Right.
Everybody knew the rules, months ago, but that's not the issue. The issue that I have is that you hear everything coming out from these places that cancel their primaries is the fact that there was a lot of shenanigans going on in terms for voting for these delegates, where you have Trump delegates that are getting kicked off the ballot, or you have just today you had a couple who were on two ballots for two different congressional districts. So this is. I don't mind it if you're going to make the rules, but don't rig the rules and then cheat at it as well. Matt Locke, HC, what do you have to say about that?
Exactly. It comes down to, this is literally a clear picture of the ruling class losing their seats, losing their control versus the people. We've always suspected this. We've always talked about this on social media for years. You couldn't have a clearer picture of the way things are, how blatant they are at literally just trying to say, hey, guess what? Your vote doesn't count.
Yeah. And I mentioned this last night. That how do you have how do 24? You had 24 GOP GOP elites in Colorado decide that they were going to cancel the primaries. All because this year, all the delegates were going to be bound by the winner of the caucus, and they wanted to prevent that because they knew that Donald Trump was surging, and they were afraid that they were going to be bound to them. And actually, this was all done to secure the delegates for Jeb Bush, but unfortunately, he was knocked out by Donald Trump very quickly, and now they're just I think Matt Locke, you brought up a good point. They're practically using Ted Cruz to eventually nominate somebody else at the convention.
Well, yeah, Chris.
I found the fathers.
Go ahead, Matt.
Talking about that today, Donald Trump has come along, and I've talked about this in prior podcasts of mine. Donald Trump has come along, and he's brought a lot more people into the fold and a lot more excitement. And now what has happened since Donald Trump has come along and brought all these people into the fold, we are now seeing the actual apparatus that has been behind that curtain for years that we never knew about, that were set up for the Mitt Romneys, that were set up for the John McCains, that were set up for the Jeb Bushes, that, hey, you peasants, you go away, you don't pay attention to what's going on. And like I said, Indiana's actually in play this year. Well, and Indiana's actually in play this year, and Donald Trump has really brought this all into focus and said, look, this is what the people in power have been doing to you as a country. Are you going to stand for this?
Mm-hmm. Richard, do you want to respond to
that? One thing I'd like to add to that is our founding fathers didn't plan for the people not to stand up. That's the clause they left out of the Constitution. We ourselves need to stand up for our rights and cast our votes and vote the establishment out. Mm-hmm. The ones that's been there for 30 years plus, what have you, they don't need to be there. If they're doing their job, fine. Right. But if they're not, vote them. That's what I say. Right. They got two jobs: protect the Constitution and do their job. Yeah. That's just it. Yeah. That's all they got to do.
Richard, before I let you go, Richard from Kentucky, and you're listening to the Solid Majority, the number to call is 347-338-1775. Richard, before I let you go, last night I had Gavin Mitchell on my show. He's from the Gavin Mitchell Show. If you don't know who he is, just go to Spreaker and follow him on Spreaker, along with the Matt Locke Show, who you were just talking to Matt Locke. But follow HC, okay. Hardcore America Radio. We're all on Spreaker. Gavin Mitchell brought up a good point. He said that, hey, we've been a representative republic. We're, basically we elect people to basically, do our bidding for us. So he doesn't see anything wrong in these delegates being assigned to basically do our bidding. But again, the point goes to what I said earlier. I said, I don't mind that as long as there's no shenanigans going around. You know what I mean?
Well, Chris, real quick history lesson. Richard, real quick history lesson here. Back when our founding fathers discovered this country, did the Constitution, we the people need to stand up, that kind of stuff. They went to a designated spot, which wasn't Washington, D.C. back then. They worked for 8 weeks. They made the laws, which were 1-2 pages long. And then they went back to their jobs as masons and school teachers and professors and whatnot, and they lived under the law. The politicians that we have now, they make the law, and then they don't live under it. They exempt themselves from everything. Let's take Obamacare, for example. So when you look at the history of this, and you look at Donald Trump coming in, and Gavin Mitchell is right. I mean, we are a representative republic, but we were then. Now we are being represented by the wrong people.
Right.
The people don't live out with us.
Well, Richard, I want to thank you for calling and continue to be a fan, man. We love you calling, so don't be a stranger.
You guys keep up the good work. Hey, you guys keep up the good work. We need guys like you guys out there fighting the fight.
Thank you, sir.
I'm really
Thank you, Richard.
God bless, brother. God bless.
Bye-bye.
All right, there you have it. This is what I love about the show, HC and Matt. It's just the fact that now with this new call board and, I have a screener and everything, it just adds so much life, and you get to really get a pulse for what's going on all over the country. As you've seen, I get calls from Kentucky, Canada, even Canada. People call from Canada who have dual citizenship, and they vote actually in the United States.
I've been contacted by so many Canadians who are such a fan of Trump. In fact, they're starting their own little Trump groups in Canada.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Victor Bro to be calling in. He's going to be my next guest. But before while we wait for him, let's talk about going forward. April 26th, Matt, you kind of alluded to this. You have 5 states in play here. It's on April 26th, 172 delegates. You have Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, and Rhode Island. Pennsylvania could be a little trouble for Donald Trump. The state has a very unique system in which 54 delegates, 3 from each congressional district, are listed by name on the ballot with no information for the voters to know which candidate they support.
Now, why is